Welcome in, everyone, to episode 13 of Paid for Play, the College Football Sports Hour. We are coming to you live. I'm coming to you live back from the parents' house. JD is with us this morning. It is Rivalry week. It's the last full weekend of college football. It's sad to say, but we've made it to the end of the season. Of course, Goose is having some internet issues and had other plans for the show today, but I'm sure he's with us in spirit. We'll get his picks out so we can all flock up today. But JD, how you doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
I'm doing all right. Thanksgiving's good. Had the turkey bowl, so my body hurts all over. Feels like I bruised a rib or something. And I don't even know how that's possible because I was playing quarterback for the Turkey Bowl, and there's no tackling involved. It's two-hand touch, so I don't know how I did it, but I'm pretty beaten up over here. But I'm loving it. I've just been on the couch watching college basketball and then college football yesterday. So it's been a very, very fun week, a lot of college sports, and this is the last day where I'll probably be on the couch all day long, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the last days where you can just sit there, kick back, enjoy a fantastic slate of college football. Just the noon games looking good. It's going to be a good weekend of college football. I'm trying to get this technical. We're supposed to have Sosa in here, so I'm trying to get him in here real quick. Let me see if I can get the link posted. But we are looking forward to it. It's going to be a good day of college football. We'll go ahead and get started. Probably the biggest game on the docket for the day. Oh, shit. My entire computer is just frozen. But, okay. Biggest game of the day, Michigan, Ohio State. Ohio State the line has just gone down to, I think it was just 7. Or was that 7 just before the start of this? So, I'm not really sure what everyone else is seeing. Like, what has Ohio State done to make this a 7-point spread? What has Michigan done to prove they can hang with Ohio State? JD, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Muted. Obviously, we already know what Harbaugh does in the big games. I do think this is Harbaugh's, if not his best team, I think it's right up there. It's close to his best team. So I don't know if I'm automatically assuming a blowout. So I did have to dive a little bit deeper into it. And basically my takeaway is this. Michigan's defense has looked fine. They've looked better than fine for the majority of the year. They've looked pretty damn good. When you go through and look at the quarterbacks that they've played, Washington, Northern Illinois, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Northwestern, Michigan State. We've talked about Peyton Thorne on this show. We talked about him for that game. Indiana, they've had quarterback problems all year. Maryland, all Tua's brother does is throw turnovers. Penn State, in a game that they pretty much should have lost. They got pretty fortunate there at the end. So I think the best quarterback they've played is Western Michigan all the way back in week 1, Caleb Ellaby. And that was a long time ago, and that's a MAC school. So that's pretty embarrassing. I just think Ohio State brings an athleticism advantage that these teams can't match. Obviously, Michigan's athleticism is going to be pretty close. But I think Ohio State does have the clear advantage. I think what this comes down to, because Ohio State's going to get their points, I feel pretty confident in that. I think what this is going to come down to is whether or not Ohio State can control Michigan's running game, because Michigan's been running the ball very, very well. Their offense, I can't really knock their offense too much. Honestly, once you dive into it, actually, it's pretty impressive what they've done. Ohio State's rushing defense has looked fantastic over the course of the season. But again, you look through the game log and what's the best rushing team they've played? There hasn't really been one. It was supposed to be Michigan State last week, and they shut down Michigan State. But I mean, that was a mismatch from the jump. So is this one going to be a mismatch from the jump? It kind of has been in recent years, Sam. I don't know if it's going to be a complete blowout. I could see them hanging a little closer. That Ohio State versus Penn State game is really hanging in my mind from a few weeks ago, where Penn State was really in that game the entire way. And Penn State and Michigan are pretty much on the exact same level. We saw that when they faced each other. I think they're two very similar teams. So I could see Michigan hanging with them a little bit. I think Michigan in the first half might be closer. But ultimately, if you're only giving me about a touchdown, I don't see how there's any way I could play Michigan full game. I don't have Ohio State as an official play for me, but that is definitely the only way I could look here.
This is definitely dumb brain coming in at you, coming in hard. I don't see it. I mean, it's Jim Harbaugh against Ohio State. I don't know how what he's done, what Michigan's done. I mean, they've looked better this year than they have in the last couple of years, and Ohio State has run away with this game in these last couple of years. There's just something about Harbaugh in this game where I just cannot even get close to touching Michigan. Like they've hung close back in like the 2016, 2017 years and made it a pretty close game. But the last few years with Ryan Day coaching, it's been Ohio State running away with it. And if there's definitely something to this game where they didn't play last year, and Ryan Day is still pissed off and wants to, like, he said himself, he wants to hang 100 points on Michigan, and he wants to try to do it. So there's something to it. Like, this offense is too good. I don't see no one's going to really be able to stop it unless it's Georgia in the national championship. But I mean, it's probably recency bias too, just after watching what Ohio State did last week. I know it was a bad mismatch with Michigan State's pass defense. I think Michigan's a little bit better, but the way Michigan handled Kenneth Walker earlier this year, that's probably the best player and most dominant performance we've seen against Michigan all year. I just don't like a player. Like, Ohio State has players like that all over the field. So I don't know how they're going to be able to stop it. They're not going to be able to key in on one specific receiver, just the way no one else has been able to do against Ohio State. I think C.J. Stroud is hitting his stride. He looks like the Heisman frontrunner. And if he has another first half where he's 406 touchdowns, I mean, just wrap up the Heisman and deliver it to his front door, because there's no one else that's going to come close. So we did get thoughts on over-under. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
No, I mean, my initial lean is the over, just because Ohio State, the way they're scoring right now, and you mentioned the motivation to rack up points, trying to get Stroud the Heisman, etc. So I mentioned my initial lean is the over. Also, Ohio State's defense, I kind of keep mentioning this, like, we haven't seen it because they haven't played any good teams lately. Michigan State wasn't able to expose them, but their two best wide receivers are out. I think Ohio State has defensive flaws we haven't seen pop up. That's going to pop up eventually. Now, is Michigan the team to do that? I don't know. They're the number 5 team in the country, so you would think so, but it's Michigan with Jim Harbaugh. They're not exactly an offensive juggernaut. So, yeah, he's saying the overs hit the last 7 times in this matchup. So that's the only way I could look, but I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I mean, I have all my eggs in one basket for today, and it's strictly from them not playing last year and Ryan Day just like having this hatred toward Michigan that I didn't think an Ohio State coach could like go to. Like, I figured there was just a baseline hate, but it seems like Ryan Day has taken this next step where he just wants to fucking embarrass Jim Harbaugh. So I have Ohio State first half. I have Ohio State full game. I have Ohio State team total over 35.5, and I have the over. I just think if Ohio State can do what they did or what they've done in the last few matchups, like, they've just run away with this game. It's embarrassing for Michigan. This hype just builds up all year. Everyone says it's going to be the year it happens, and then they just fall flat on their face. So I don't see, until it happens, I'm not going to go against a broken model or a model that's proven successful over the last few meetings in this matchup. So we'll move on to another Big Ten matchup. Penn State going to Michigan State. Penn State getting 4 on the road at Michigan State. Like we just talked about, Michigan State embarrassed last week. Couldn't hang with Ohio State. I mean, it was over in the blink of an eye. But now you got Penn State coming into town. And I mean, I haven't seen enough from Penn State this year passing or in the passing game to make me think like it's going to be anything close to last week, or like just take advantage of that mismatch that you have with Michigan State's pass defense. I don't know if you've seen anything, or what are your thoughts on this game?
I played Penn State -1. I don't think I could take it at -4, which obviously I've bet them at -1. I'm hoping they win by that. But yeah, I don't believe in Michigan State. I've said it pretty much every week, and then somehow I talked myself into them last week. I'm still upset to let that happen. I just don't think they're very good.
You let me talk. You talked me into it last week.
I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, I've been against Michigan State all year long. Their secondary is brutal. Penn State, while they're not a great passing team, Sean Clifford's been hurt in and out of the lineup for seems like all year. They're saying he's 100%. They do have some pretty good wide receivers. Jahan Dotson's an absolute beast. I think he's going to eat in this game. Out wide, Parker Washington's been going off the last couple of weeks as well. I do think they expose them again a little bit. And this Penn State defense has been solid all year long. Michigan State's top 2 receivers are going to be out. That's been their passing offense. It's just bailing out Peyton Thorne because they do have 2 really good receivers in Reed and Naylor. Now they're both out. I think that really hurts this offense. Kenneth Walker, his status is uncertain. Obviously, if he doesn't play, I'd probably add some more at Penn State -4 because he's their entire offense at this point in time. And that is what makes me nervous, Sam. If I'm laying 4 points, Michigan State at home, Kenneth Walker, we've seen where they're totally outplayed all game long, like against Michigan, and then Kenneth Walker just rips off 5 touchdowns. And you're like, what the hell just happened? So I think Penn State's defense is good enough in this one. I think they're the better team. I don't know. I'm on Penn State -1.
Yeah, I saw the spread. I mean, if it was closer to pick 'em, I'd be more comfortable playing Penn State in this one. But Michigan State getting over a field goal at home. I mean, I regardless of what happened last week, like you just don't have the. I don't expect Michigan State to have the athletes to play with a team like Ohio State, especially in like year 2 of Mel Tucker when he had to piece together a roster from the transfer portal. I mean, I'm impressed with what they've been able to do. I think Penn State is definitely closer to their, like the athletes are more on an even playing field this week. But, okay. Bunch of state players out with COVID. Okay.
They got a bunch of players out with COVID. They got a bunch of players out with injury. And I think they're the worst team straight up anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm making Penn State an official play at -4. Why not?
All right. Well, just like last week, I think I've been talked out of Michigan State or talked to the opposite side of a Michigan State game. So
don't let me do it. We talked you off 2 winners last week.
Yeah. I mean, I just am not going to take the other side. I'll just sit back and relax and watch the game, enjoy. I'm sure I can find something to watch if it turns into a blowout like last week. It's a great slate today. So, we'll see if Big Ten Goose has the internet connection. He's in the background right now. We'll see if he's got any thoughts on this one. Goose, flock up, baby.
What's up? What's up, fellas?
How you doing today?
What's
Great.
good?
You know, I'm here to talk good college football games, but I'm at the Rutgers, Maryland tailgate right now, about to go into the stadium in about an hour and a half. But yeah, the Penn State Michigan State game, I think if Kenneth Walker's playing, I want that +4 because ultimately I don't know how healthy Sean Clifford is. He left for an injury against Rutgers. It's the second game he had to leave for injury. I mean, he's slated to play. He's going to play today. I just don't know if we get like an 80%, a 90%, a 70% Sean Clifford. And I know so many players are out for Michigan State, but with it at +4 as a home team, I'm going to rock with them, actually.
Love to hear it. We'll see if our next guest, Sosa, welcome in, man. Good to have you on again. You got any thoughts on any of the first 2 games we talked this weekend or for the Saturday slate?
I'm on. I mean, obviously, I think everybody's on Ohio State, right? I think that's the
yes.
I'm on Ohio State, and I'm also saying don't touch Ohio State first half. I think a lot of janky shit can take place in the first half of this ball game, and you get in a situation where you get trapped, and everybody's like, "Oh, Ohio State came out and killed the." Listen, they're probably going to kill them in the second half. In the first half, they dominated teams that just were butt. JD was just talking about Michigan State. I mean, you take Kenneth Walker away from that offense. What do they have? He's the engine. They did nothing against Ohio State. Obviously, we didn't have any expectation against them. Ohio State came out, murdered them to start the game. I just think rivalry game. pump the brakes on the first half. Second half, Ohio State runs them off the field. That's my expectation. That's all I really,
I think my first half thoughts were just more of like in recent years, it's just been Ohio State has jumped out early and just gotten all over them. Like they've pulled away. I mean, Michigan has kind of hung around on the offensive end, but they've shown they haven't been able to stop Ohio State. And I don't feel like I think this is the best Ohio State offense we've seen and certainly under Ryan Day and Urban Meyer. So that's just where my first half thoughts came in. But I do agree they poured on in the second half. We'll move on to Alabama going to Auburn, Iron Bowl matchup, 3:30 slot on CBS. Alabama closing in on 21 point spread. I think it was at 20.5 just before the start of the show. Sosa, you got anything on this one? Any official plays or anything?
No, sir, man.
No.
This Alabama team they've proven to do some fraud. They've been fraudulent to me in my eyes. I do not think they're anywhere close to as good as Georgia, and that's just me personally. I think that this Alabama team is getting a lot of credit off of what is the word I'm looking for? Off of reputation.
Mm-hmm.
The defense has had games where they just look terrible against teams that we saw struggle with subpar teams. 20.5 points is a lot, even though I think that they're the better team, but it's to stay away from me. I said all that to tell you I'm not betting on the game.
All right. JD, you got any plays?
My thoughts are pretty much the exact same. There's no way this should be 20 points. Like, this is one when I first saw it. I said, what the hell? Like, listen, I've said nothing good about Auburn all year long, nothing good about Brian Harsin, all this. But, this is reputation. This is a name. This line doesn't make sense to me. Could they still hit it? I mean, they could. Listen, they could make some big plays out wide. They've been doing that. But if they don't hit, the 7, 8, 9 big plays they hit against Arkansas, because Auburn has slightly better athletes in the secondary. They're not great, but, like, Arkansas just couldn't match up athleticism-wise. Auburn can a little bit. So Auburn lean, but there's no way I'm taking fucking Auburn against Alabama in 2021 with Brian Harsin, the head coach. So, yeah, just to lean. All that to tell you nothing. Just like
but Bo Nix is out. Like, you got TJ Finley back there. The dude's a statue. He can't move at all. And last year against Alabama and any team with any kind of pass rush at LSU, like whenever he was at LSU, he struggled. Unless he has a clean pocket, we haven't seen enough out of him this year with Brian Harsin. So that's just where my initial thoughts come in. Kind of like Alabama. I got it at 19 earlier this week, so that's an official play for me. Anything outside, like I think it'll be around that 20-point range, but you never know. Like we've thought that before. I've certainly thought that before, and Auburn ends up winning the fucking game. So never know what can happen, especially at Auburn. Weird shit happens in the Iron Bowl. Goose, you got anything on this one?
Yeah, to piggyback off of weird shit, I like the over. I get what we're saying, like Bo Nix isn't playing. I just think we're gonna get a lot of trick plays out of Auburn. Like, this is the Iron Bowl. This is David versus Goliath this year. With Auburn struggling a little this year, I think we're gonna get Auburn to score some points, and then I just think Alabama's defense has been in question, in my opinion, at times. So I think, I like the over today. I think Alabama will keep trying to pour it on because it's the Iron Bowl. Plus, they kind of need some style points in a way. Like, if they lose to Georgia next week, are they going to be Team 4? So I think they're going to keep trying to score today, almost to counter that. And so I'll rock with the over 57.5.
I just think if they lose to Georgia next week, how do you put them back in the playoff?
The brand.
You're on mute, Sosa.
Because money rules the world.
Yeah, the brand.
That's what it comes down to, man. Like,
yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna put them at 3?
You got, hey man, how did Cincinnati look against ECU?
I didn't watch it, so I'm assuming not good. So
and man, listen, as far as this whole playoff thing is, it's politics at the end of the day, as it always is. I mean, how hard is it for us to argue a team with no losses being one of the Final Four teams, right? Like just the visual. We look at it, we're like, okay, one team has no losses, one team might have two, right? But again, we're going to look at it as where are these athletes headed? These are all guys that are going to make millions of dollars on one team, go at the next level. They're already making you more money than you would at a Cincinnati. I love Luke Fickell. I think if Cincinnati played Alabama 100 times, they'd lose all 100.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but my point is, if they lose next week, where do you put them? I mean, do they only drop down to one spot? Or are they still just going to stay at the 3 and Cincinnati's still the 4?
Losing to Georgia would be the best loss any team has.
I understand, but I'm not saying. But if Cincinnati wins and Alabama loses, which we think is going to happen, if you're not going to have Georgia Alabama play again as the 1-4 matchup. This is also true. That's the hardest part for me is I don't think they would want that rematch right after it just happened. So, I mean, I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. I mean, I'm very excited for Georgia Alabama. It'll be the best game of the year, outside of if we get Ohio State Georgia national championship like we all want. But yeah, I think we've all given our thoughts on this Auburn Alabama game. So we'll move on to the nightcap, or the best game of the night. Oklahoma State, Bedlam. It's very disappointing for my brain to see a total set at 49.5 in this game. It makes me very sad. It used to just be an automatic overbet, and now I don't know if they can even get to 50. So, Goose, what are your thoughts on this one?
So, my thoughts are to stay away because the tweet was circulating the other day that Lincoln Riley is starting to follow like some LSU coaches and players. So like the drama of it, I just want to stay away. I don't know how that's going to affect the locker room. A freshman quarterback in Caleb Williams, what is he thinking? Because he's young. He hears the noise. He's on Twitter. He hears the noise. If there wasn't any like coaching drama, the 49.5 just feels so low. It just feels like an over game. I like this Oklahoma State team. I like their quarterback, even though he's kind of like sloppy and inconsistent. Like he'll throw for only like 200 yards today, but he'll make the right throws, I feel like. So I think Oklahoma State goes in and wins it. I think the total goes over, but I'm just staying away because of this coaching drama. I really think we're dealing with kids, not professionals. We're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So no touch for me because, hey, the rumors are Lincoln Riley's going to LSU. So that's just my thoughts on the game.
I'm really hoping that I'm not trying to jinx it. I've been hurt before with the whole Tom Herman to LSU thing. Everyone thought that was a done deal. So now,
thank God though. Thank God that didn't happen. Like,
I understand, but at the right time, he was the hire.
He was never the guy, bro. Trust me on this. Ryan Day and Luke Fickell are what everyone thought Tom Herman was. They are both. Listen, Tom Herman was a fraud. He was a fraud, bro, and fuck that guy. You got a title while he was losing to Houston. Fuck that guy.
I understand, but any moron clearly can go into LSU and win. So
hold on. See, that's how I know you're an LSU fan. That's how
moron. Well, I mean, Ed Ogeron and Les Miles won national championships.
And they can barely read. I feel
exactly.
I feel you on that.
Tom Herman fucked that up. That's on him.
I think Lincoln takes the LSU job. Listen, everyone was talking about Cowboys. Listen, if the Cowboys moved on from McCarthy, it would be for Kellen Moore. They would not even contemplate hiring a college guy. I think he's gone, to be honest. And I think like Lincoln, I don't think he's waiting 2 years to go to the SEC.
No. And the thing is, everyone else in this that has had their name mentioned has gotten an extension. Lincoln, everyone keeps saying OU can outpay LSU. They have all this oil money, all these oil money boosters. Why isn't a deal fucking done yet? I don't get it. So yes, I do. As of right now, I do think Lincoln Riley is the guy. I'm gonna believe it. I'm doing the Michael Scott. I'm ready to be hurt again. So let's do it. I'm looking forward to it. I have to cheer for Oklahoma State in this game, just because strictly because if Oklahoma goes to goes to the Big 12 championship, that probably delays an announcement or the start for or the start time for Lincoln Riley, and they'd like to get him in there as soon as possible. So I don't know. I mean, I like Oklahoma State at home. I know I'm going to bet the over before kickoff, just because it's a game called Bedlam. I don't know how you don't bet the over. It's a wild game. So, JD, you have any bets for this one? Then we'll get Goose's card and let him get out of here.
Are we still on Bedlam?
Yeah, we're still on Bedlam. We took it.
I'll keep it short. The line has finally caught up to Oklahoma State. They've been an undervalued team all year long. They have done pretty much nothing to give me concern. I think they're a very good team. Their defense is fucking legit at all three levels. Obviously, the offense is a concern here with 4.5 points playing a team like Oklahoma. I know they haven't been playing well. I am concerned with Oklahoma. I don't think Caleb Williams is totally figured out, but it's still 4.5 points where Oklahoma probably has the better offense. That's going to keep me away from a play. So I like the line. I'm going to be rooting for Oklahoma State. I've really enjoyed watching them play football. I mean, Big 12 has totally changed. I tried to say this earlier in the year, and people were yelling at me in the comments. They're a defensive-first conference now. This is why teams like Texas are getting left behind, because they're still giving up 60 anytime they play a real team. So I like Oklahoma State, so I'm going to be rooting for them to win today.
They also gave up 50 to Kansas, so it doesn't matter who they play. So, Goose, you want to give your card, get back to your tailgate real quick?
Appreciate that, yeah. I'll give my card out real quick. I'm rocking with Ohio State. I don't want to give out juice plays, but I'm just taking it to -7. Get it at -120. Hooks always scare me. I'm just that kind of guy. I think they're the better team though. They're looking amazing right now. Michigan State +4. I know all the injuries. I'm still gonna go with Michigan State +4. Boston College +5. My thought process on that is Wake Forest needs to win to be in the ACC championship. It's the pressure game. I think it's going to be a close one because of the pressure. Alabama Auburn over 57. And then I'm going to also rock with Kentucky +3. Kentucky +3 because, it's, I guess you could say middle pack SEC versus a middle pack ACC, and as they're playing Louisville. I know Louisville's home, but I'm still going to rock with Kentucky +3.
They've dominated the series in recent years. Like with Mark Stoops there, they've dominated the series. I love the play. They've been the tougher team in the last few years. So yeah, I love that play, Goose.
You talk about a coach who will forever get to keep his job as long as they make a bowl game.
Mark Stoops.
All Kentucky has to do is make a bowl game, and that man will have a job for the next 20 years. They don't even have to. They don't have to win shit.
I love the last week the Mark Stoops at LSU, like. Whoever's all the reporters that have been running with that have definitely, they have to be getting some kind of cut of the new deal he's about to get with Kentucky. So he's probably going to get a nice extension. I mean, if he goes 9-3, he's a god at Kentucky. So I don't know why you'd want to leave that job. He's got it rolling well. So
I just want to throw this out here. I only have one play for the entire day, and I'm gonna let JD go because I seen him fueling up. I seen him fueling up throughout the episode, right? So like he's almost to the point where he's ready to just, So I'm gonna make it quick. I'm taking Notre Dame to cover the huge spread, the huge number. I'm laying the points. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so take that with a grain of salt. We have won the trenches the last month. Right, this all Brian Kelly does. He just wins, man. Doesn't matter who's in front of him. Obviously, we lost one game. Still has a direct opportunity. We still have.
Does matter who's in front of him.
I mean, it really doesn't until we get to the college football playoff and
There
get
we
clapped. I get it. Regular season, no problem. This is
Okay.
what he does. He rolls through the regular season.
August to November, dude just wins.
Absolutely. I like us to cover the number. And that's my only play. I'm rocking with Notre Dame. That's my team. End of the season, he's still lying to the players, saying we got everything to play for. We're not making the playoff, but we can end up with one loss, which is a great year. You get to play on New Year's and possibly not get clapped by an SEC team.
If Cincinnati loses, Notre Dame's in the playoff. I think.
Like, actually, to me, that's more like the silver lining. Like, we get to a bowl game and not see an SEC team. I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that.
That's the best case scenario. It's the best case scenario. It's sad, but it's true. I've accepted it.
JD's all in on the. I don't want my teams going to the playoffs. Just get me to a New Year's 6 and let me cool it.
Hey, yeah, I pulled for Oregon. My brother went to Oregon. They lost last week. They got publicly embarrassed. They had their pants down on national television. I was happy as a clam. I said, thank God we don't got to get smacked by Georgia.
All right, Goose, get back to your tailgate, man. Thanks for the picks. Flock up,
Be well,
baby.
fellas. Have a good weekend.
And so, yeah, JD, I listen, y'all, it's on y'all. If I can chill out or I can bounce, but again, I'm ready for JD's picks. I'm ready for the dumb brain picks from Sam. Make sure if y'all are tuned in, see that nice number of people in here. Make sure you guys are following these two if you're not already. I appreciate y'all. For me, it's been a great season. I haven't had to do any work. I just had to watch y'all and win. So appreciate you guys, as always, the work you guys are doing. We're going to turn it up for college basketball season. And, I came on your show and I gave one pick that I'm of a team that I'm a fan of. So peace. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. All right. Time for the best segment of the show. JD, get us hype, man. Come on. It's the most proven winner that we've had on the show so far. JD's DFS and fantasy, DFS fantasy and prize pick advice. What do you got for us today?
Listen, fellas, if you're not playing prize picks for college, you got to be playing prize picks. I don't mean to sound like a salesman or anything. Like, I am telling you, this is where if I have financial investment on Saturdays, Fridays, whenever there's college games, I'm telling you, it is prize picks that I am investing in. That is where my money lies, because that is where the money is right now, in my opinion. Some of these lines, man, we just been crushing. We've been taking advantage. So I'm going to rattle these off. We're going to go with Prize Picks. If you're not using Prize Picks, it's an app. Go ahead and look it up. It's legal in a lot of states. Some states it's not. So if it's not, I'm really sorry you're missing the money. I won't spend too long on this. But this is where it's at. This is where it's at. So we are going with some passing yardage overs. Brennan Armstrong is listed at 307.5. And some of these might have moved. I wrote these down last night. 307.5. Brennan Armstrong is averaging like 380 over his last handful of games. I don't know why it's at 307 in a rivalry game. There's no weather conditions. We're taking his over. Braylon Allen, Wisconsin running back, we're taking all his overs. He's the entire offense. Everyone else is out injured. Over 0.5 rushing touchdowns, over 17.5 fantasy points. You can take his rushing yards, whatever. He's been absolutely cruising over all his overs. Kenny Pickett, Pitt quarterback, over 314.5 passing yards. Similar to Brennan Armstrong, he's been averaging about 50 yards more than that. You're getting a 50 yardage advantage on the spread. I don't see how you don't take that. It's financially irresponsible. Travion Henderson, Ohio State running back. Listen, I know he's playing Michigan State. They're a good defense and all, but they give up 5 touchdowns to Kenneth Walker. You're telling me Travion Henderson can't bust one long touchdown? He busts one long touchdown, and he's already hit this. And Kenneth Walker busted 5 long touchdowns. So Travion Henderson over 13.5, Ohio State running back. BYU, I like any BYU overs. I decided to go with Tyler Algier, the running back. They're playing USC, a team that I will talk all the smack in the world. They have given up on the season. They have given up on tackling. Take Tyler Algier's over. I like his rushing yardage personally at 107. Jackson Dart, USC quarterback. He didn't get me the fantasy points last week. I think he's going to get me this week. I played his over 17 fantasy points, but the one I feel best about, if you don't want the fantasy points, play his over 237.5 passing yards. Jackson Dart absolutely cruised over that by 100 yards last week. He's going to cruise over it. This team averages about 50 passing attempts a game. They're going to be playing from behind. So you have to play that. Aiden O'Connell, Purdue quarterback. We played his over passing yards, 247. We played his over 17.5 fantasy points. Hendon Hooker, Tennessee quarterback. He's a dual threat. Tennessee's been scoring 45 points a game. Now they're playing Vanderbilt, and you're telling me Hendon Hooker can't get 24 fantasy points? That's a joke. I think he gets that in the first half. I think that's pretty much it. Let me see. I tweeted out a few more. Let me see. That's about it. Phil Jerkovic, I took his over 20.5. I think that's gone up. They're playing Wake. Wake's defense is a joke. I will mention this here. We also took Sean Clifford's over 16.5 fantasy points going against Michigan State. They have no defense. And then last but not least, one last chance to fade Northwestern because they're not going to be in a bowl game, folks. They have given up on the season. Chase Brown, over 16 fantasy points. That's a running back for Illinois. They're going to run all over Northwestern. So, yeah, play those, win money. If you're asking me what I like the best, you're trying to put a few together. I think for sure the passing yards on Brennan Armstrong. For sure the passing yards on Jackson Dart. Those are probably my two most confident.
I don't even need an energy drink anymore on Saturday. I just need to get to JD's prize pick segment. Dude, just, I mean, the energy is there every week. So I want to get your all's thoughts on my team for tonight. Is there anything to the like last game magic and like LSU 6.5 or nothing?
That's what the line has to be. It's down to 4.5 at FanDuel. I just checked that. That's crazy. So that's what it has to be, right?
It has to be.
Best of luck with that.
I don't play LSU anymore. They're the most volatile team.
I hope y'all get Lincoln, all that good shit. I hope all that. I mean, hopefully, y'all unban OBJ and all that soon too. Because that's kind of weird.
Well, you can't be passing out hundreds after the game, and
they might have been. They said they were fake.
I understand they were fake. I mean,
paid for play, baby, paid for play.
That's why That's what there it is. There it is. He'd be allowed to do it now.
Also, in his defense, he gave it to Justin Jefferson and like Joe Burrow, and both of those dudes played their last college game that night. So they wasn't even paying college athletes. So
it's all in there, man.
I'm all for OBJ coming back. I love any former LSU players on the sideline, so that's good. But yeah, I'm almost at the point to where just get this game over with so that Ed's out. He can't fuck up anymore. He just needs to shut the fuck up. I'm so ready for him to be gone.
Holy.
But yeah, so I'll go. JD, you want to go ahead and give your the rest of your card, or
yeah.
You said you didn't have too many from the games we talked about, so let's hear it.
I didn't have too many, so I ended up not putting Penn State on the card because I played them at -1. The line moved up to -4. It just spooks me a little bit, so I took that off. All right, so we're going BYU in the nightcap, -7 over USC. I think they're going to roll them. I think they're going to roll them. That's about as simple as it is. As USC likes to roll over and let people do things to them, I think that BYU is going to do whatever they want, just as UCLA did last week. I took Cal +6.5 against UCLA. I think Cal's undervalued. They lost to Arizona because half the team was out with COVID. And if you take away those 3 games, they've won 3 in a row. They just put up 640 some yards on Stanford. I think they're undervalued. Cal +6.5. I took Miami, Ohio. I took it at +1. It's up to -1, but who cares? It's still close to a pick 'em. Over Kent State. I've been forced to watch a lot of MAC football, keeping tabs on the DFS, and I just think Miami's a better team, and it's 1 point. Give me them. Notre Dame. I'm also on Notre Dame against Stanford. Usually I'm at this game. I'm not going to this game because I think it's going to be a blowout, and I don't think the Stanford team is worth driving any time, even if it's an hour and a half. I don't think it's worth it. I think Stanford's really bad. So Notre Dame -20, get some style points. And then last but not least, I'm going to go Kentucky, Louisville. I took the over 57. I think both these teams have been trending to the over. I think some people still think of Kentucky as a defensive first team, and their defense isn't very good this year, and their offense is putting up points with Wandale Robinson, Will Levis, and Chris Rodriguez and company. So, yeah, I took the over in that one. Thoughts on the Florida game? Yeah, Florida State. I do have some Florida State +3 shares. It's up to +3.5 at FanDuel. I would for sure play that there. I think they're a better team with Jordan Travis. So not an official play, but, yeah, I like Florida State there.
Yeah, and I just think Florida's a dead dog. I don't know if they get – I think I looked up the interim coach earlier this week, and he just didn't give off, like, the they're going to rally for this guy vibes. So, they're a team that had like playoff aspirations, maybe not as much as last year, but they just feel like a dead team. They've given up a little bit. So I don't know. I'd probably lay Florida State +3.5, you said? Yeah.
Yeah, it's at FanDuel. I couldn't believe they gave me the hook.
Yeah, I'd be right there with you on that one. So, well, we'll get into my card, just close out the show. I'm on Georgia -35 after watching what Notre Dame was able to do to Georgia Tech. I think a better team in Georgia is just able to do kind of similar. I don't know if it'll be 55-0, but give me a 45-3 showdown. I mean, a blowout. So I don't think Georgia's just going to try to get in and out of this game as quickly as possible, start getting ready for next week. I don't think there's much rivalry juice to keep this game close. Georgia's just the best team far and away. So Georgia Tech doesn't look good. I gave out the 3 plays I have for Ohio State. Michigan, Ohio State first half -3.5, Ohio State -7. And Ohio State team total over 35.5. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I think Ohio State runs away with this game, and if it doesn't, then I assume everything except for maybe the team total loses. I'll let this question get in. Toledo
covering that large spread. Let me see. Honestly, I haven't looked too much at this game. They're like 28-point favorites. I'm saying 28.5 over Akron. Toledo's been tough for me because they're like everybody's favorite team to bet. So their lines have been really juiced all year long. So usually when I see a Toledo, I usually look the other way or pass. Akron looks pretty bad last week. 35 degrees, early morning game, Saturday. I don't know if I could lay those points. 28 sounds about right to me. Not much help there. Akron's been a little feisty. I know they got blown out last week. They were feisty before that, so it scares me off a little bit. I think they could score some garbage time touchdowns. I don't see any wind in the forecast, and Akron does play better when they're able to throw the ball.
All right. And then to finish out my card, I got Purdue -14.5. Indiana, I don't think they've beaten a Power 5 team all year. I don't know why they would. I understand it's a rivalry game. I'm not going to – I'm done believing in Indiana. And Purdue, it's a rivalry game, kind of want to run up the score. Purdue definitely has a little brother syndrome here in Indiana. Like, they end every cheer they do at sporting events with IU sucks. So, I mean, they're going to try to run it up if they can. I like Purdue -14.5. I like Bama -19. I got that earlier in the week. I think it could get ugly, even with some of the Iron Bowl magic that can happen. I just don't think TJ Finley is the kind of player who's going to give Alabama any issues. He's a statue in the pocket. Will Anderson probably gets a couple sacks if there's a prop out there for Will Anderson sacks, take the over. I don't like Auburn's offensive line and TJ Finley not being able to run around and do what Bo Nix does probably hurts him in this game. I do like Kentucky +3. Kentucky's owned this series for the last few years, especially with Mark Stoops. I don't know why. I feel like the wrong team's the favorite here. I get it's at home. I get it's a rivalry game, but Louisville neither of these teams have beaten anybody, but I think the level of competition Kentucky's played against and hung around in games, and as long as they don't turn the ball over, they are a turnover machine. If they can hold on to the ball, I think they'll be able to win this one pretty easily. Then I'm on BYU -7. I think USC's dead. They've given up. They're just ready to get the season over with. I'm on that one with you, and that's it. That's the card for the day. So thank you all for tuning in today. This is the last full slate. We'll come at you one more time next weekend for Championship Saturday, but after that we'll probably do some spot shows here and there for bowl games. Definitely get into a little more college basketball. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been great having everyone on for the season. Everyone just keeps coming back, so we love it. Thank you all for tuning in again. JD, you got any closing words?
No, not really. Just really enjoy doing this every week. If you're not playing Prize Picks and it's legal in your state, I think it's financially irresponsible. You have a fiscal duty to follow through on this. But no, it's a great slate of games. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So everybody, let's go win some money and enjoy your Saturday. It's the last full Saturday slate. So everybody have a great day. Let's do it.
Deuces.